Smash that subscribe button, hit like, and share the story. Have you ever had a secret that changed everything? Tell us in the comments below. The Wedding Crashers. A secret unveiled. Mr. Davies, Ms. Olivia Reed has confirmed her attendance. An assistant announced, her voice tight with professional solemnity. Perfect, Roderick replied, a rare, humorless smile touching his lips. Place her where she has a full view of the altar. No hiding her in the back. The assistant nodded, swiftly exiting the opulent study. Roderick scrolled through his agenda, oblivious to the anxious glances from Amelia, who was meticulously reviewing wedding notes. Why does it matter so much where that woman sits? Amelia finally asked, not looking up from her papers. You told me she was barely an acquaintance. She's an old business associate, Roderick stated, his voice firm. Nothing important, but I need to maintain appearances. Our wedding is the event of the year, isn't it? Amelia frowned, unsatisfied, but chose not to press. Her family had spent months orchestrating the most lavish ceremony of the season, and she envisioned nothing less than perfection. The magazine photographers are coming tomorrow for the pre-wedding shoot, she offered, changing the subject. Don't forget your tux. I'm aware, he replied. I'm off to the club with some guests now. See you tonight. Amelia watched him leave and sighed. She called her best friend. I don't know why I feel so uneasy. Roderick is so cagey about this Olivia woman. I just have a feeling something isn't right. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, Olivia snapped her carry-on shut, addressing the three boys waiting patiently on the sofa. Thomas, Matthew, Leo, double-check everything. We're leaving in an hour. The three obeyed in silence. Thomas looked up. Why are we going to this wedding? I thought you didn't know that man. It's complicated, Olivia replied, unwilling to elaborate. Just remember what I told you. Stay close to me and don't wander off when we get there. The boys nodded, their curiosity still simmering. Olivia reviewed the plane tickets. The invitation had arrived in an elegant envelope, with impeccable calligraphy. At first, she thought it was a mistake. However, the name Roderick Davies made it clear the recipient was her. She didn't understand the reason behind the invitation, but she was determined to show up. There were matters that needed resolving. The next day, at the luxurious Davies estate, Mr. Arthur Davies watched his son with a worried expression. Roderick, are you aware of the risks involved in inviting that woman? Your mother and I are concerned. We don't want a scandal. This won't be a scandal, Roderick assured him. I just want her to see what she lost. She thought I'd never amount to anything. Look at me now. The humiliation will be hers. Why hold on to a grudge? That ended years ago. You have a charming fiancé, a solid company, and prestige. Don't stir up the past. Father, Roderick raised his voice. I'm not discussing this. It's done. Just don't interfere. The older man sighed, shaking his head. Roderick had always been resolute, even stubborn. Nothing would change his mind. Meanwhile, Olivia landed with the children at Los Angeles International Airport. Their luggage was minimal. The boys wore dark suits and fine ties, ready for a formal event. Olivia contained her nervousness. She had no idea how things would unfold. Is the hotel far, Mom? Matthew inquired. We'll be there soon. Don't worry, Olivia replied. She called her friend, Sarah, who lived in the city, to confirm the rental car was waiting at the main exit. Sarah offered her home, but Olivia declined. She preferred the children to have their own space, especially during the uncertain days ahead. Once in the car, Olivia re-examined the invitations. 2 golden cards with the address of an imposing garden on the outskirts. She and the children would be there the next day, where Roderick's social circle would witness the ex-girlfriend few remembered. She didn't care about curious glances. Her objective was much clearer. For years, she had kept the identity of her children's father a secret. Now that same man had sought her out, or at least that was the official version. But Olivia suspected Roderick was unaware of the most important details. The afternoon passed quickly. Olivia took the children for a light meal and some rest. The next morning, She rose early to adjust Thomas, Matthew, and Leo's ties. Nervousness was visible in their eyes, but Olivia instructed them to remain silent when they encountered Roderick. "What if he doesn't talk to us?" Leo asked. "Don't worry, just stay with me. Trust me." Upon arriving at the garden, they encountered an impressive display of elegantly dressed people, ready to celebrate the wedding of the year. A guard checked the invitation and let them pass. The children gazed in awe at the arrangements, the tables, the music. Olivia approached one of the organizers, who guided her to the rows near the altar. "Ms. Cruz, right?" the organizer asked. "You can sit here. Mr. Davies asked me to look after you." Olivia felt a knot in her throat. She saw Roderick in the distance, conversing with guests. He noticed her, and a slight smirk of satisfaction twisted his lips. Without hesitation, she led the children to their seats. The gasps of astonishment were immediate. 3 boys identical to Roderick captured everyone's attention. At that moment, Amelia appeared, as imposing as ever. She approached Roderick and slid her hand into his arm, openly curious about the newcomers. Roderick's gaze fixed on Olivia and her sons. No one imagined what was about to happen. Olivia raised her head and looked directly at Roderick. The conflict was on. The wedding hadn't started, but everyone sensed something much bigger was about to erupt. Roderick stopped talking to his guests and advanced towards Olivia, ignoring the swirling glances around him. Amelia remained behind, observing the 3 children with unease. When Roderick reached Olivia, he fixed his eyes on the boys. "What is the meaning of this?" he blurted out without greeting her. "It means I received your invitation," Olivia replied, her voice firm. "And I couldn't possibly come alone." Roderick glanced sideways at the children. Their gestures were unmistakable. Thomas, Matthew, and Leo remained silent, holding Olivia's hand, as if sensing something important was about to happen. "This wedding is a private event," Roderick said. "I had no idea you'd bring company. When you sent the invitation, you must have imagined I'd come with them," Olivia retorted. "Or did you think I'd live in hiding forever?" Amelia arrived at the meeting point, placing herself beside Roderick, giving Olivia a tense glare. "Could you clarify why you insist on causing trouble right now?" Olivia straightened. "I'm not looking for trouble. I came because I was invited and because I believed it was the right thing to do." The murmurs wouldn't stop. Mr. Davies appeared nearby, looking worried. He observed Olivia, then the children, and swallowed. "Roderick, calm down," he whispered. "We need to talk privately." Roderick shook his head. "No, I want to speak clearly right here. Olivia, why did you accept the invitation? Do you want money? Recognition? What are you looking for?" She inhaled slowly. "I want you to face the truth. I never wanted to force anything on you, but you dragged me into this by sending that invitation." Amelia pressed her fingers into Roderick's arm. "I don't understand anything," she said, turning to look at the children. "Who are they?" Before Olivia could answer, Matthew mustered his courage. "We're his sons," he stated in a low voice, holding Roderick's gaze. Amelia opened her lips to say something, but remained speechless. Roderick seemed surprised, though he struggled to maintain his composure. "Take them away," Roderick ordered, addressing an assistant. "Have them sit where no one will notice them." Olivia interrupted him. "No, they are not moving. They are not an ornament you can hide." Amelia let go of Roderick's arm. "Is there any way this is a misunderstanding?" she asked in an almost inaudible voice. Roderick was silent for a moment. The children kept their eyes fixed on him. Thomas, the eldest, murmured, "Mom said you should know everything." Roderick cleared his throat and looked at Olivia. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" "I did tell you," she retorted. "You never answered my calls. You blocked me everywhere. Your father sent me warnings to stop contacting the Davies family." Mr. Davies approached, uncomfortable. "Roderick, this is not the time or place," he whispered. Roderick resisted. "You and Mom never told me about this. Did you know?" Mr. Davies looked away. "I thought she had left on her own." That's all I remember. Olivia glanced at the guests. The ceremony hadn't begun, but several guests were observing with interest. Roderick spun on his heel and asked an employee, "Tell them to hold the music. Nothing has started yet." Amelia didn't move. She watched Olivia cautiously. "Are you trying to cancel the wedding?" "No," Olivia assured her. "I'm not interested in ruining your ceremony. Nor did I come to claim your fortune or anything like that." Roderick let out a contained sigh. "Why did you come now?" "Because I must protect my children. You ignored them, but the truth is they are yours. I'm tired of pretending you don't exist." The atmosphere was thick with tension. Some guests whispered, others kept their distance. Amelia checked her phone for the time and addressed Roderick. "What are we going to do? The press is behind those walls." Roderick gestured. "Tell everyone to wait half an hour more." Meanwhile, Olivia, "I demand you explain everything in detail, here or in a private place." Olivia thought for a moment. "I'll do as you wish, but I need to speak to you away from the guests. I don't want to turn this into a spectacle." Amelia pursed her lips. "I'll go with you." Roderick nodded without arguing. Immediately, a guard approached to guide Olivia and the children to an adjoining room. Roderick followed closely, while Mr. Davies remained at the entrance, looking around and trying to hold back questions from the guests. The background music remained paused, confusing those present. Before entering the room, Olivia looked at her children. "Don't say anything until I tell you. This is complicated." They nodded. Once inside, Roderick closed the door and faced Olivia. "Speak up right now." Olivia met Roderick's gaze, aware that Amelia was listening to every word. "I tried to contact you when I found out I was pregnant. You had left. Your family never accepted our relationship, and my resources were limited. I looked for you several times. You didn't answer me. Over time, I gave up. I had to work to support my children and build a new life." Roderick clenched his fists. "And why come today with the children? I received your invitation. I assumed you knew something, or perhaps you wanted everything to become public. I wasn't going to stay silent if you exposed me." Amelia broke her silence. "How are you so sure he's the father?" Olivia pulled out an envelope. "I have medical documents, and I can request DNA tests." "I'm not afraid of anything, Amelia." Roderick ran a hand over his forehead. "This can't be happening. My wedding will be ruined if this comes out. Do you really think I'm going to stand by idly?" Olivia crossed her arms. "Do what you must. I'm ready to. I won't back down." Amelia blinked, observing the children. "What are their names?" "Thomas, Matthew, and Leo," Olivia said. "They're 6 years old." Roderick continued to look at the little ones, visibly nervous. The door creaked open and an employee announced, "People are demanding explanations. Should I tell them the ceremony will resume in a few minutes?" Roderick inhaled sharply. "Tell them we'll resume soon. No one leaves here until we make a decision." Olivia closed the envelope with the papers and held it firmly. Amelia swallowed, not moving away from Roderick. It was evident that nothing would ever be the same. Roderick observed Amelia and Olivia in silence. The employee remained standing at the door, waiting for a sign to go out and calm the guests. Finally, Roderick took a step forward. "Tell them we'll reschedule the ceremony in half an hour," he ordered, without taking his eyes off the two women. The employee nodded and left. The children remained next to Olivia, silent, clinging to her. Amelia put a hand to her forehead, trying to contain her anger. "Do you really think there's a way to save this wedding?" she asked, her voice tense. "Look at them. They're identical to you." Roderick kept his jaw clenched. His silence was suffocating. Olivia seized the opportunity. "It's best to talk right now. I've spent years waiting for an explanation that never came." Roderick turned to the children, with an almost inquisitive tone. "How do I know?" "I already told you," Olivia interrupted him. "Their names are Thomas, Matthew, and Leo. They are your sons." Amelia took a step back, unable to hide the trembling of her hands. "How long were you planning to hide this?" she asked Roderick. Did you invite Olivia without knowing about her relationship with you? He exhaled impatiently. When I sent the invitation, I assumed she'd come alone. I knew we had unfinished business in the past, but I never imagined this. Olivia frowned. Unfinished business? I had to support 3 children. You and your family cut off all communication. What did you expect? Roderick looked at the children again. Matthew clung closer to Olivia, unsure. Thomas, the eldest, kept his gaze fixed on the man who was supposed to be his father. Leo, arms crossed, avoided eye contact. Amelia took a long sigh. Are you planning to marry me today despite everything? Because I won't tolerate humiliation. Roderick, the press is outside. The guests are waiting, and this is a huge scandal. No one is getting married yet, Roderick announced, looking at Amelia. I need to know what really happened. Olivia, how could you have 3 children without anyone in my circle knowing? Your circle knew, but they made sure to erase me, she retorted. When I stopped receiving your calls, and your father made his stance clear, I decided to leave for the United States. There, I looked for work, contacts, and stability. It wasn't easy, but at least I could raise my children. Roderick turned to Amelia. Give me a few minutes with her, please. Amelia blinked with indignation. Are you asking me to leave? It's my wedding, he nodded curtly. I need to clarify this alone. Go back with my father, and confirm to him that we'll talk about the ceremony shortly. I promise you will resolve this. Don't leave me out, Amelia complained, but at the same time, she seemed relieved to leave the room. She looked at Olivia with distrust and left, closing the door. With Amelia gone, the room fell into a crushing silence. Roderick approached the children with a frown. You, he hesitated. Do you recognize me? Thomas was the only one who answered. Our mom showed us pictures of you. Roderick swallowed. Pictures. I found them online, Olivia clarified. Business articles, interviews, they wanted to know who you were. Roderick ran a hand through his hair. Listen, I never had confirmation of anything. You didn't answer when I wanted to talk? Or do you think I didn't try? When did you call me, Roderick? She challenged him. I looked for you, and you cut me off. I still have unanswered emails and messages. Your father told me to forget about you. Roderick remained silent. Olivia noticed that the children were starting to get restless. Do you want to wait outside with someone you trust? She asked, looking at Roderick. That way we can talk without them hearing everything. Roderick nodded with apparent relief. He called an assistant and asked him to take the children to an adjoining room with refreshments and something to eat. Olivia said goodbye to them with a comforting gesture. Everything is fine. I'm here. When they left, Roderick fixed his gaze on her. Your return ruins my wedding and my reputation. Is this your revenge? Olivia shook her head. If I wanted revenge, I would have exposed this years ago. I came back because I have nothing to lose. My children ask about their father, and I found the invitation in my mailbox. It was the perfect trigger to reveal the truth. So you want me to pay for their upkeep? Roderick speculated. Is that it? Don't come to me with that story, she retorted. Do you think I came for money? I've lived all this time working hard in Los Angeles. I have my own interior design business. Yes, I could use help, but my children aren't starving. Roderick looked at her with a trace of bitterness. What are you looking for then? For you to acknowledge that they are yours, and for you to be honest with everyone, including Amelia. I don't care if you get married today or not. I just want my children to stop living in limbo. The tension escalated. Outside the room, footsteps and voices announced the impatience of the guests. Roderick sighed. You've always been stubborn, and you've always preferred to protect your image, Olivia accused. That's why I'm here, so you stop hiding the truth. He looked at his watch. Time's running out. My father must be fielding thousands of questions. And Amelia won't tolerate this much longer. Olivia raised her eyebrows. Not my problem. You'll stand by or do something with the reality in front of you. First, I want irrefutable proof, Roderick demanded. I want a DNA test. Excellent, she replied. I'm ready to do it immediately. Just tell me when. Roderick took a few steps towards the door. I'll talk to Amelia. We'll suspend the ceremony until further notice. I won't allow a farce to spread without clarifying the situation. Then we'll take the test. Do what you want, Olivia replied. But don't ask my children to disappear. Roderick nodded grimly. He opened the door, and before leaving, turned his head. Trust that I will take action. I'm not running away. The door closed behind him. Olivia remained still, aware that her decision to show up had caused chaos. However, for the first time in years, she felt that the truth was emerging. Outside, a murmur of voices grew. Perhaps the wedding of the year would become the scandal of the decade, but Olivia didn't regret taking that step. Roderick went out into the garden and looked for Amelia among the dozens of guests who were starting to get impatient. She saw him coming and immediately walked towards him. What did you decide? Everyone's asking why the ceremony hasn't started. The wedding is postponed, he announced with a tone he intended to sound firm. I need to clarify Olivia's situation and the children's. Amelia clenched her fists. Are you going to cancel everything for that woman? Or are you going to tell me you don't want to ruin your social life? He clicked his tongue. It's not a whim. If I get married now, a bigger scandal could erupt. I spoke with Olivia and she agreed to DNA tests. Until we know the results, I won't take any steps. Amelia exhaled in frustration. Do you think the press will just sit by? Everyone noticed that woman, and more than one saw her with 3 children just like you. I know, Roderick murmured. That's why I'll try to handle it discreetly. Tell the guests that the reception is being moved to next week. Use any excuse. Tell them I had an emergency family matter. She looked at him in disbelief. Are you expecting me to cover your lies? They're not lies. It's the only way to avoid greater chaos. Amelia hesitated for a moment. And what about me? Where do I stand in all this? We'll talk about it later, Roderick said. Please cooperate. I'm asking you. She pulled away with contained fury and walked towards the orchestra area. Roderick dodged the glances of the closest guests and advanced to where Mr. Davies stood, exchanging words with high society relatives. Son, what's going on? His father demanded. I've never seen such an embarrassment. Things have changed, Roderick explained. There's no wedding for now. Olivia is demanding my responsibility for those children, and I'm afraid we'll have to give in. Mr. Davies turned pale. Are they really your children? Roderick pressed his lips together. She's assuring me they are. She wants DNA tests. I don't know if you lied when you said you knew nothing about this, but today I will face the consequences. Don't you lie, Mr. Davies retorted in a low voice. I did what I thought was best for the family. That woman didn't fit with our aspirations. It wasn't your decision, Roderick muttered. Because of your silence, I'm in this mess now. Mr. Davies hesitated for a moment. Several guests approached, curious, and he quickly dismissed them with a tense smile. Friends, I apologize. My son had a last-minute family emergency. We will confirm the new date. We appreciate your understanding. As they moved away, Roderick lowered his voice. I'll talk to Olivia again. We'll leave here to take the children somewhere quiet. We'll do the tests as soon as possible. Then we'll think about what's next. His father looked at him with irritation. If it's positive, half the city will be talking. This will affect your businesses. That's the least of my worries, Roderick replied. You've always thought about family as if it were an elitist concept. Enough. He left Mr. Davies with a frown and went into the main house. He went up a side hallway to the room where he had left the children. An assistant allowed him to enter. He found Thomas, Matthew, and Leo sitting on a sofa, eating cookies. Olivia was standing, checking her phone. The wedding has been suspended, Roderick announced. We need to get out of here. I don't want a media circus. Olivia put her phone away. Where are you taking us? We can go to my office or somewhere the press won't follow. I'd rather avoid all these people. She looked at the children. Are you okay with that? The 3 nodded without speaking much. Roderick noticed the anxiety in their faces, something that stirred him inside. He wasn't used to dealing with children, much less with children who might be his own. "I'll take you to my residence on the outskirts," Roderick said. "We can talk there without interruptions. Tomorrow morning I'll arrange the tests." Olivia had no alternative plans, so she nodded. Before leaving, she peered into the hallway and asked, "What are you going to do about Amelia?" "That will be seen later," he replied. "Right now, the essential thing is to clarify if they are really my children." Thomas looked at him intently. "And if the tests say yes?" Roderick swallowed. "Then I'll do the right thing, Thomas." Matthew and Leo exchanged a glance, somewhat unsure, but followed their mother out of the room. Roderick led the way, ushering away guards and staff who tried to stop them with questions. He maintained a serious demeanor, looking no one in the eyes. Outside, Amelia stood with her back to them, explaining to a small group of guests. "The ceremony is postponed for a few days. We have an unexpected family matter. We count on your understanding." When she noticed Roderick and Olivia passing with the children, she frowned. "Are you leaving with them?" Roderick didn't stop. "I'll talk to you again later. This is urgent." Amelia turned to Olivia, full of rage. "Do you think you're going to destroy everything and get away with it?" Olivia didn't respond. She walked forward, holding her children's hands. Roderick ordered one of his chauffeurs to bring the car, and they all got in. The guards cleared a path through the luxury cars. Mr. Davies came out to the porch, looking disapprovingly at the scene. The orchestra music stopped definitively, marking the abrupt end of the evening. During the drive, silence prevailed. The children looked at the city through the windows. Roderick held the steering wheel, trying to concentrate on the road. At each traffic light, he checked the rearview mirror, observing the children without daring to start a conversation. "How's your life in the United States?" he finally asked. Olivia replied quickly. "Stable, simple. They attend a good school, they have friends. I have my business. We've lived without luxuries, but without deprivation." Roderick nodded, not knowing what to add. Thomas intervened. "Do you have businesses there too, like here?" "I have companies," Roderick admitted. "Hotels, properties. It's hard work, but it yields good results." They fell silent again. The car moved along more secluded streets, and then took a short road until it reached a residential area. An electric gate opened and the vehicle entered a house with a large but discreet garden, away from public view. Roderick turned off the engine. "We've arrived. It's not my father's mansion. I prefer something more private." They got out of the car and followed Roderick inside. The silence was almost uncomfortable. Olivia stopped in the main living room and looked at some family portraits. She saw Roderick with his parents at a social event. No trace of another family or the history that was hitting him today. "You can settle into the rooms upstairs," Roderick indicated. "I'll call a doctor to take the necessary samples, and I'll prepare something for dinner. I didn't know children were coming, but I have enough food." Thomas, Matthew, and Leo did not complain. Olivia nodded. "Okay, we'll do the tests tomorrow. Then we'll see what the next step is." Roderick didn't reply, but his eyes showed uncertainty. That night promised to be long for everyone. No one knew if the truth would confirm an indestructible bond or if, on the contrary, it would shatter the world Roderick had built. Roderick poured a couple of glasses of water and placed them on the table in front of Olivia. The children were upstairs, exploring the bedrooms. Their muffled footsteps could be heard on the wooden floor. Olivia settled into the armchair, her gaze alert. "Tomorrow, a trusted doctor will come," Roderick informed her. "He'll take the samples for the DNA tests. I want the results as soon as possible." "Okay," Olivia accepted. "I suppose you won't question the credibility of the tests." He shook his head slightly. "No, the doctor is reputable. Besides, I promise there will be no manipulation. I want to know the truth too." Olivia sighed. "Perhaps this seems trivial to you, but I'm worried about your children's reaction if you discover that, in fact, you are their father and then you disown them. I've spent years trying to ensure they didn't feel resentment towards you, but I can no longer protect them from something that has become unsustainable. Roderick ran a hand over his chin. I don't plan to disown them. It's hard for me to assimilate, but I'm not going to leave them adrift either. Suddenly, a noise was heard upstairs. Roderick quickly stood up and went up the stairs. He found Matthew trying to open a locked door. "What are you doing here?" he inquired inquisitively. "I just wanted to see," the boy replied, backing away. "I thought it was a normal room." Roderick crouched down. "There's nothing important in there, but it's locked for security. Do you need anything?" Matthew looked at him shyly. "Do you have a phone charger? My mom forgot ours." Roderick nodded. "Yes, I'll bring it to you. Wait downstairs with your brothers." As he returned with Olivia, Roderick reflected on the children's obvious bewilderment. He didn't know how to handle it, but he tried to look calm. He handed the charger to Matthew and watched him walk away with Leo, heading for the television room. Olivia stood up. "It's late. Can you show us where we'll sleep?" "There are a couple of adjoining rooms at the end of the hallway," he replied. "You can split up however you like. Early tomorrow morning we'll deal with the tests." She nodded and went upstairs to call the children. Roderick followed her with his gaze until they disappeared at the top of the stairs. Then he took out his phone and noticed several missed calls from Amelia. He sighed and dialed. "Amelia, I'm sorry. I couldn't answer." "How do you expect me to react?" she retorted. "My family is in an uproar because I postponed the wedding. They're furious and the press is speculating." "Tell them it was a family health issue," Roderick suggested, his voice flat. "I need a few days to clear everything up." "And then what?" Amelia sounded desperate. "Will you marry me, even if those children turn out to be yours?" Roderick rubbed his forehead. "I don't know. I don't want to deceive you. First, I want to make sure that if they are my children, I will look after them. I'll have to reorganize my life. I'm not looking to lose you either." She was silent for a few seconds. "The truth is, I feel humiliated. I found out about something so serious right at my wedding. However, I don't want to make any hasty decisions. Let's finish this matter and then we'll see if we move forward." "Thank you," Roderick murmured. "I'll contact you as soon as I have news." "Do it," Amelia said before hanging up. Roderick stood there holding the phone. For years he pursued the perfect reputation, the dream wedding, the most profitable business. Now he felt everything shaking. He went up to a small office upstairs and locked himself in for a while to think. He turned on his laptop and began drafting emails to his partners, informing them that he would be unavailable for a few days. When he finished, he heard noises in the hallway. Olivia peered in. "The children can't sleep. They're restless. Could you talk to them for a moment? Maybe they'll calm down." Roderick felt a lump in his throat. "I don't know how. I've never tried to calm a child. They're your sons. Try talking to them or telling them something. They just want to understand why they're here." He got up and followed Olivia to the room where the three were sitting on the bed. Thomas looked more serious. Matthew and Leo struggled against tiredness. Roderick approached cautiously. "Is everything all right?" "We can't sleep," Thomas replied. "The place is strange, and we don't know how long we'll be here." Roderick pulled up a chair and sat down. "I want you to be calm. This is a safe place. I'm sorry if you feel uncomfortable." Leo observed him. "Do you have children besides us?" Roderick shook his head. "No, I had never considered parenthood." Matthew looked at him curiously. "And why didn't you come looking for us?" Roderick tried to appear serene. "Because I didn't know you existed." It sounds harsh, but it's the truth. "Are you going to stay with us now?" Thomas asked in a low voice. Roderick inhaled, not knowing what to answer. "We'll see. First, I'll do the tests. Then we'll talk about what's next. But I'm not going to leave you alone." The children nodded, not seeming convinced. Olivia intervened. "Rest. Tomorrow will be another important day." "Roderick, thanks for talking to them." He stood up. "Good night." He left the room and closed the door softly. Olivia caught up with him in the hallway. "It's not easy for any of us, but I appreciate that you're trying to act rationally. You could use your power to get rid of me, but you've been more sensible. I don't know if that comforts me, Roderick said. Anyway, what's done is done. I'll call the doctor first thing tomorrow. Sleep. Olivia nodded and went into the room. Roderick went down to the living room. He sat for a long time, checking his phone notifications. He found calls from his father, messages from family members demanding explanations, and rumors on social media about the suspended wedding. He felt anger, guilt, and uncertainty. Finally, he got up and walked to his own bedroom. He had no idea how everything would turn out the next day, but he was sure that nothing would ever be the same. At 7 a.m., a gray car pulled up to the gate. Roderick watched from the window. He recognized Dr. Evans, his family doctor, a serious and discreet man. He opened the front door and invited him in. Olivia, hearing movement, came out of the room with the children. They were still in simple pajamas, but they looked willing to cooperate. Doctor, thank you for coming so early, Roderick said formally. We need to perform DNA tests. The doctor greeted Olivia with a slight nod. Good morning. I need to take samples from each of you, including you, Roderick, to compare them. I brought my portable equipment. It will take a few minutes. Olivia looked at the children. Go with the doctor. It's okay. He'll just do a small test in your mouth or on your arm. Thomas, Matthew, and Leo showed some unease but obeyed. The doctor set up in the living room, took out sterile swabs, and took samples from the buccal mucosa of each child. Then he did the same with Roderick. As he worked, the doorbell rang. Roderick frowned and went to open it. Amelia, he blurted out, surprised to see her standing by the door. She entered, without greeting. I called you a couple of times. I saw cars entering. Did you already bring the doctor? Yes, Roderick confirmed. He's in the living room. Amelia advanced with a firm step and found Olivia sitting next to the children, holding Matthew's arm while the doctor put the swabs in sealed bags. She crossed her arms. And what happens now? The results will take a few days, the doctor explained. I'll send these samples to a trusted lab. There might be a preliminary update in 72 hours. Amelia tensed when she heard the time frame. We'll have to wait days to know the truth? That's right, the doctor replied. However, the procedure is quite reliable. Olivia looked at Amelia without hostility. I understand you want certainty too. It suits me just as well. Amelia looked away, avoiding a direct confrontation. Thomas called his mother's attention. Are we done? Yes, Olivia replied. You can go wash your faces and change. The children went upstairs quickly, clearly tired of the tension. The doctor packed his instruments and addressed Roderick. I'll let you know as soon as I have any updates. Keep your phone on. Roderick accompanied him to the door. Before leaving, the doctor cast a cautious glance at Amelia and Olivia, who were waiting in silence. Then he left. When Roderick returned to the living room, he found Amelia standing by the window. Can I talk to you privately? Yes, of course, he said, leading her to an adjoining office. Olivia was left alone, checking her phone. In the office, Amelia turned with a furrowed brow. Your family is pressuring you to set a new wedding date. Haven't you considered that if those children are yours, nothing will be the same? I know, Roderick replied. If the result is positive, I'm going to acknowledge them and support them. I want to do things right. She tensed. And where do I fit in? Will you marry me despite everything? I haven't decided yet, Roderick admitted. If these tests confirm my paternity, I'll have to dedicate time to my children. I don't intend to sacrifice the wedding, but I'm not going to ignore my responsibility either. Amelia bowed her head. I don't like feeling like you're putting me second. It's not that, Roderick argued. It's just that I didn't plan to find out something like this on the day of the ceremony. I ask for your patience. She scoffed, unable to find a convincing answer. She left the office and crossed the main living room without speaking to Olivia, who simply watched her. When Amelia left, Olivia approached Roderick. Did she say anything else? Nothing unexpected, he murmured. Her family wants a new date. Amelia doesn't know if she'll accept if these children turn out to be mine. It's not my children's fault that all this is happening, Olivia replied with a touch of firmness. They deserve clear answers. Roderick nodded. I know. Give me a few days to clear my mind. The children came downstairs then, dressed in clean clothes. Thomas spoke up. Can we go out for a bit? We want to get some air. Roderick was surprised by the question. Of course. There's a backyard with some space for you to relax. Will you come with us? Matthew inquired. Roderick hesitated, uncomfortable with the invitation. Olivia sensed his doubt and pushed the situation. Let's go together. I need to walk too. He agreed and led them to an inner courtyard with a small garden. The children began to explore, running around a hedge and curiously examining the outdoor furniture. Olivia approached Roderick. I know it's not easy to adapt overnight to something like this, but at least I appreciate that you're trying to spend time with them. I want to get to know them, Roderick admitted. I'm sorry I didn't know about their existence sooner. Come on, I'll introduce you properly, she suggested. They approached the children who had sat on a bench. Olivia pointed to the eldest. This is Thomas. He likes to read and always asks questions. Thomas barely smiled. Hello. Roderick scratched the back of his neck. Hello, Thomas. Olivia continued. Matthew is more adventurous. Sometimes he climbs on anything just to figure out how it works. Matthew laughed. I like to explore. Leo, Olivia continued. He's the quietest, but don't be fooled. He also has his own personality. Leo blinked and let out a soft laugh. I'd like to see your whole house. Roderick nodded shyly. I'll show you later. I promise there aren't many secrets. There was a moment of silence. Olivia felt it was a small step towards acceptance. Roderick, for his part, looked at his presumed children with curiosity. They didn't look scared, but somewhat unsure of the man who might be their father. And what did you like to do as a child? Matthew asked, breaking the ice. Roderick was surprised. I don't remember in detail. My father prepared me for business from a very young age. Maybe I played soccer, but they didn't let me waste time on the street. Thomas raised his hand. Could we play soccer with you sometime? Roderick didn't know what to say. Finally, he smiled faintly. Yes, maybe. Olivia caught the children's contained excitement, who looked at each other knowingly. Although nothing was resolved, that small interaction with Roderick offered them a ray of hope. Several minutes passed in the garden. Then, Roderick suggested going inside for something to eat. He called a cleaning lady, who occasionally cleaned the house, to order takeout and offer something to the children. Olivia made sure they washed their hands and sat down. It was a strange scene. An improvised family at the table, not knowing if they were truly bound by blood. As silence once again took over the place, Roderick contemplated the children and Olivia, understanding that the test results could upset his entire future. For the first time, he doubted whether or not he wanted the truth to confirm his paternity, because he knew that too many decisions he never imagined taking depended on that result. 3 days later, the atmosphere in Roderick's house had become tense and silent. The children alternated between playing in the garden and watching television, always with a certain latent nervousness. Olivia tried to keep them busy, preparing simple meals and reviewing school assignments remotely, praying that the lab would hurry with the DNA results. Roderick spent much of his time locked in his study, taking calls from investors and partners who demanded clarification about his sudden absence. He also dealt with Amelia's constant messages, who, despite her discomfort, kept abreast of everything related to the analyses. At noon on the 4th day, Roderick's phone vibrated with a call from Dr. Evans. He answered immediately. Doctor, do you have anything? Yes, I received the preliminary results from the lab, the doctor announced. I need to talk to you and Olivia. Can I come now? Come right away, Roderick urged. After hanging up, he turned to Olivia, who was chatting with the children in the living room. The doctor called. He's on his way with the results. Olivia looked at her children. Go to your room for a moment, please. Don't be long. I just need to talk to Roderick and the doctor. The children obeyed, going upstairs. Roderick and Olivia remained silent, not exchanging a word. Minutes later, the doorbell rang. Roderick went to open it. The doctor entered with a briefcase and a sealed envelope. "Here are the results," he said formally. "I must inform you that the analyses confirm paternity at 100%. Roderick exhaled air he didn't know he was holding. Olivia closed her eyes for an instant. The doctor continued, "But there's something else. During the investigation of certain genetic markers, we detected an anomaly. Roderick, it seems you have a hereditary trait that could predispose you to heart disease. It's not an immediate diagnosis, but it is a risk that the children should be monitored for." Olivia's eyes widened. "Does it have short-term consequences?" "Not necessarily," the doctor replied. "However, the children will require regular medical checkups. At this age, symptoms usually don't appear, but it's important not to neglect them." Roderick rubbed his forehead. "I had no idea about that. My family never mentioned anything similar. It might be a gene that hadn't manifested problems," the doctor added. "Still, I suggest taking the children to a pediatric cardiologist. Routine studies might be enough." Olivia clenched her fists. "So, besides confirming they're your sons, I have to worry about this possible health complication. I won't be able to handle it alone." "Calm down," Roderick intervened. "I'll do whatever is necessary. I have good contacts and money to cover everything." The doctor took out some copies. "I'll leave you the documentation. It's best to arrange medical appointments as soon as possible." "Thank you," Roderick said. "Sorry for the rush, but could you prepare a legal report? I need to take a formal step." "Of course," the doctor replied. "I'll send the certified documents and bring them to you next week." He left them in an overwhelming silence. Olivia held the copies of the results with a trembling hand. Roderick looked at her. "Do you see why I couldn't turn my back on you? It's not just about my legal responsibility, but the children's health." She nodded, her face serious. "I expected nothing less. Now we must figure out how to integrate this into our lives." Roderick took a step back, feeling his head spin. He called the children to tell them the news, though he hesitated how to explain the illness part. Shortly after, Thomas, Matthew, and Leo sat on the sofa. "We spoke with the doctor," Roderick began. "The tests confirm that I am your father." The three boys blinked, looking at him in silence. Thomas dared to ask, "And are you going to stay with us?" Roderick moved closer. "I plan to help you and be more present. We still have to get organized. There's a medical issue to address, but don't be scared. We just need regular checkups." Matthew looked at his mother. "Will we go back to Los Angeles?" Olivia hesitated. "Perhaps later. For now, it's likely we'll have to stay for medical consultations. Besides, you have the right to get to know your father and his paternal family." The children seemed nervous. Not knowing if this was good or bad news, Roderick tried to sound convincing. "I want you to be well. You can count on me for whatever you need." There was a brief moment of calm. Olivia stood up. "Children, go to your room. We'll come down for something to eat later." When they were alone, Roderick looked out the window. "Are you planning to return to the United States as soon as the consultations are over?" "It depends on many things. My work, the children's school, the residence permit in Mexico. But I'm not going to uproot them again if I decide to stay for a while. They need stability." "You can count on my financial help," Roderick assured her. "And I'll look for a suitable place for you to live in the city, if you wish." Olivia studied him. "What about Amelia?" Roderick sighed. "I've been postponing the wedding. She wants to know if I'll go ahead with the plans. Frankly, I don't know where we stand. I didn't ask for her opinion when I invited you, nor did I calculate the impact of discovering my children on the same day. She feels betrayed. She'll have to decide if this is something she can tolerate," Olivia replied. "You also have to think if you want a marriage based on image or on truth." Roderick didn't reply. He took out his phone and saw Amelia's name on the missed call list. He felt a huge regret, but also a new perspective. For the first time, he was clear that he didn't want to base his life solely on appearances. "I have to do things right," he affirmed in a strained voice, "both with my children and with Amelia, if this continues. There are also matters to clarify with my family." Olivia nodded. The confirmation of paternity marked a before and after. The reaction of the Davies family and the romantic situation with Amelia remained pending, not to mention the children's health and the shadow of a hereditary disease. Everyone's lives had taken a definitive turn. All that remained was to resolve at what price. Roderick prepared to face his family at dusk. He summoned his father, Mr. Arthur Davies, and his mother, Mrs. Evelyn Davies, to the residence outside the city where Olivia and the children remained. They arrived with tense expressions, looking at him with unease. "Why did you call us here?" Mr. Davies asked. "You already know our stance." "Because I won't tolerate any more secrets," Roderick replied. "I need to know if you knew from the beginning that Olivia was pregnant." Mrs. Davies avoided his gaze and Mr. Davies crossed his arms. "We heard rumors. Nothing confirmed. So we preferred to close that chapter so it wouldn't harm your future. We never believed she was actually expecting your children." Roderick gritted his teeth. "You influenced Olivia to leave. If I had known the truth, I wouldn't be in this conflict today. We did everything to protect you." Mrs. Davies intervened, her voice trembling. "We didn't want to see your career ruined by a relationship we didn't approve of." "You ruined the opportunity for me to know my children," Roderick retorted. "I've confirmed they're mine. Now I must take responsibility." Mr. Davies grimaced. "All right, but don't expect your mother and me to accept public humiliation. The press is having a field day with the cancelled wedding scandal." Roderick raised his voice. "My reputation is already affected. You didn't worry when you decided to hide fundamental information from me, so if you intend to maintain appearances, do it away from me. I don't care what the press says. I'm interested in fulfilling my role as a father." Mrs. Davies sighed in defeat. "Do you want us to meet the children?" "Yes," Roderick replied. "They're inside. But before we go in, I want to make it clear that I won't allow any disrespect. They are not to blame for anything." The parents accepted with tense gestures. They entered the house together, and after a brief pause, Roderick called Olivia and the children. When she appeared, Mr. Davies greeted her with a terse nod. Mrs. Davies approached, trying to force a smile. "Hello, children. I'm your grandmother," she began to say, faltering at the gaze of Thomas, Matthew, and Leo. The children stayed close to Olivia, not knowing how to respond. Finally, Thomas politely said, "Good afternoon." Olivia stood to one side, ready to intervene if any disrespect arose. However, the Davies family seemed confused, not knowing how to interact. The silence was heavy. "You don't have to force anything," Roderick interrupted. "It's enough that you see I'm with them, and that I will take care of their well-being." Mr. Davies tried a diplomatic tone. "Roderick, have you thought about what you'll do about your wedding? Amelia asks us daily. Your mother and I don't know what to tell her." Roderick looked at Olivia, then at the children. Then he addressed his father. "I'll talk to Amelia today, but my priority is them. I want to support Olivia with the medical matter and whatever else the children need. The wedding can wait, or maybe it won't happen." The parents exchanged uncomfortable glances. Olivia intervened. "You don't have an obligation to feign sympathy, but I would appreciate respect for my children. The relationship between us broke down a long time ago." Mrs. Davies looked at the children. "It took us by surprise. Perhaps things could change if you give us a chance." The children didn't know what to answer. Olivia said goodbye with a brief nod. "For my part, I'm not looking for confrontations. We already have enough with adapting and the medical checkups. If you want to approach us in good faith, we'll talk later." Mr. Davies nodded uncomfortably. After a few minutes of awkward exchange, Roderick's parents left. He sighed. "Thanks for staying calm, Olivia." She nodded. It was uncomfortable, but at least they showed up. Meanwhile, the night wore on and Amelia called again. Roderick isolated himself in his study to answer. Her voice sounded tired. "When are you going to decide something? My family insists on knowing the new wedding date, but I feel like you're no longer convinced." "I can't decide now," he replied. "I just confirmed I have 3 children. Plus, we discovered a possible health issue. It wouldn't be honest to rush the wedding, and I don't want to force you to deal with this situation either. Amelia was silent for an instant. I'm willing to talk about it, but nothing will be the same. If you marry me, you'll suddenly have 3 children. My family won't easily accept it, and I'm tired of fighting against that. Roderick deliberated. I don't want to drag you into a scandal. Take all the time you need. I'm also going to reflect. Then we'll postpone the wedding indefinitely, Amelia concluded. If in a few weeks or months you decide to revisit the topic, we'll talk. If not, we'll each go our separate ways. I understand, he replied, sounding dejected. I'm sorry I messed everything up so badly. Take care, Amelia said before hanging up. Roderick held the phone, standing. For years he pursued the perfect reputation, the dream wedding, the most profitable business. Now he felt everything crumbling. He went up to a small office upstairs and locked himself in for a while to think. He turned on his laptop and began drafting emails to his partners, notifying them that he would be unavailable for a few days. When he finished, he heard noises in the hallway. Olivia peered in. The children can't sleep. They're restless. Could you talk to them for a moment? Perhaps they'll calm down. Roderick felt a lump in his throat. I don't know how. I've never tried to calm a child. They're your sons. Try talking to them or telling them something. They just want to understand why they're here. He got up and followed Olivia to the room where the 3 were sitting on the bed. Thomas looked more serious. Matthew and Leo struggled against tiredness. Roderick approached cautiously. Is everything all right? We can't sleep, Thomas replied. The place is strange, and we don't know how long we'll be here. Roderick pulled up a chair and sat down. I want you to be calm. This is a safe place. I'm sorry if you feel uncomfortable. Leo observed him. Do you have children besides us? Roderick shook his head. No, I had never considered parenthood. Matthew looked at him curiously. And why didn't you come looking for us? Roderick tried to appear serene. Because I didn't know you existed. It sounds harsh, but it's the truth. Are you going to stay with us now? Thomas asked in a low voice. Roderick inhaled, not knowing what to answer. We'll see. First, I'll do the tests. Then we'll talk about what's next. But I'm not going to leave you alone. The children nodded, not seeming convinced. Olivia intervened. Rest. Tomorrow will be another important day. Roderick, thanks for talking to them. He stood up. Good night. He left the room and closed the door softly. Olivia caught up with him in the hallway. It's not easy for any of us, but I appreciate that you're trying to act rationally. You could use your power to get rid of me, but you've been more sensible. I don't know if that comforts me, Roderick said. Anyway, what's done is done. I'll call the doctor first thing tomorrow. Sleep. Olivia nodded and went into the room. Roderick went down to the living room. He sat for a long time, checking his phone notifications. He found calls from his father, messages from family members demanding explanations, and rumors on social media about the suspended wedding. He felt anger, guilt, and uncertainty. Finally, he got up and walked to his own bedroom. He had no idea how everything would turn out the next day, but he was sure that nothing would ever be the same. Months later, Roderick coordinated the first appointments with specialized cardiologists. Olivia patiently supported each examination, while the children adapted to the dual routine of school and medical checkups. The Davies family accepted, with varying degrees of discomfort, the new reality. Amelia distanced herself, focusing on her own projects, and Roderick opted to put the wedding on indefinite hold. Over time, the children became accustomed to calling Roderick Dad, and he began to understand that being a father was not just about providing, but about sharing essential moments, ball games, walks, and conversations about their dreams. Olivia continued with her business, keeping open the possibility of returning to the United States or staying in Mexico depending on her children's medical needs. The press moved on from the scandal, focusing on other stories. Roderick realized that the emptiness he felt before was slowly being filled. His life was no longer perfect, but it had acquired a deeper meaning, the certainty that the greatest achievement resided not in his fortune, but in the willingness to forge family bonds he never imagined he would have. What a ride, right? This story of unexpected fatherhood and hidden truths truly makes you think. What do you believe is the most challenging part of unexpected revelations in a family? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to dive into more narratives that explore the complexities of relationships, remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel.